Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me well. You should be able to see the chat also now. If everything's all right. Everything seems all right. Hello, Stein. Hello, Lobo Rebentado. Seeing some Avon members in the chat. You guys were not tired enough to hear me on Monday stream. And lasted 3 hours. Hello, Silto. How are you, mate? Don't have time to watch this as I'm working, but have a good stream and thanks for the continuous updates on Telegram. With pleasure, mates. With pleasure. Yeah, we're trying to bring the Telegram to life lately. It's been a couple of weeks now, a month maybe, I think, that I started to post more regularly on Telegram again. Just like in the old days. I find it easier to post thoughts on Telegram than Twitter. Mostly because I'm more of the kind of doing some long ass updates and sharing a lot of thoughts. So it's just a better medium to do that. But I've been letting Twitter a little bit go lately, and it's on me. I haven't posted a chart in a week, I believe. But yeah, we'll bring it to life. I've been very active trading lower time frame, which is pretty uncommon for me. For anyone that's been following me through the years, it's not necessarily where I am the most comfortable and where I usually thrive, but conditions are have been pretty ideal for that. Very news driven, with some fairly clean levels to work with, no matter what people can say, meaning that it gave a lot of opportunities, especially on the H1 15-minute charts. I believe we've got some very good focuses last week for those who were in the Telegram. I tried to emphasize a lot last week on how I'm usually using lower time frame trends during spikes of volatility, meaning 15-minute trend and 1 hour trend especially, and how to use them to know when you can give a shot to play a bounce or reversal depending on the direction. And yeah, it was pretty great. Was pretty well defended last week, as you can see. Basically, last week, if during the entire week you avoided longing anything as long as the H1 trend was not broken, and this was a pre-New York Open retest, by the way, you basically avoided all the downsides, started longing on the break of it, and even got the opportunity to get out on a retest of the previous range low. So it's been pretty clean, but yeah, been pretty busy. Extremely happy because for those who were here during the last stream, I talked a lot about how I entirely missed that move, which happened on a full Sunday. I was completely AFK, and yeah, oh, it sucked for me because basically it translated after that into a full month of chop vest on Bitcoin. So I basically missed the 8-hour window of volatility, and then I had to watch paint dry basically. So that was pretty painful. But hopefully this time, not hopefully, but gladly this time, I was lucky enough to be watching the market when the news dropped this weekend. The second part, which I believe I got lucky, was the fact that it bounced straight into what is to me a mandatory pay yourself region, which is H4 200 EMA daily downtrend, and it was in confluence with this key level. So it was a pretty brain dead, okay, it's Sunday evening, pay yourself, you're an idiot, you're not even in your comfort zone trying to catch this move, so you're gonna hate yourself if you're not paying yourself at least a good chunk of it. So was pretty lucky on that. But yeah, that explains a little bit why I have not been very vocal on Twitter. Mostly because, again, trading lower time frame trends, which I believe I'm not necessarily the best at, and I believe that there are some people who are vastly better placed to discuss these kind of things on Twitter. And because I've been very active in the Aven, obviously, streaming a lot and working on trying to share every day kind of the focuses we should have. which you can have a taste of in the Telegram, obviously. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. These have been basically my main trades over the past 5 days or so. We can break them down if you want after we do the stream. I can explain particularly the last two ones if you guys want. Hello Chad, nice to see you here, mate. Let's to see you here. Good morning, bro. Hello and on YouTube. Been your Twitter follower for a long while. Appreciate, mate. Appreciate a lot. Appreciate it a lot. GM Baguette Lord, Michi Willis, welcome, mate. Please. Okay, you know what? Let's already do a list of the chat requests we're gonna do. At first, so the plan for the stream, I'm gonna be discussing my main thoughts on Bitcoin H1, H4 daily. Rapidly, we can discuss about SPX because I will discuss XPS rapidly because it's what triggered that trade yesterday. And then after that, through the stream, if you have any questions regarding trading or whatever, you can ask them. And we will finish the stream by some chat requests. And by finish the stream, I mean, as soon as we are done with Bitcoin, we can go to see what's happening in the shitcoins world. I've been pretty much inactive in shitcoins. If you were here during last stream, I explained how basically since mid-January, early February, I stopped basically looking for swings and mostly exited most of the swings I had. And ever since, except some scalps left and right, I have not been particularly looking for shitcoin trades. Yesterday was actually my first shitcoin trade on Aave, which you can see. Sorry, which you can see I probably sold a bit too soon. I could have aimed for higher, but once again, H1 200 EMA retest, I had to just respect the system. Was mostly, at first at least, a news-driven play. I took the trade as soon as, or shortly after the news of buyback program from Aave. So it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of chat requests you guys ask me. As I said during last stream, I usually like to do chat requests because I believe it's a fantastic way for me to keep track of what people are looking for and keep track of what people are trading, and therefore where there could be some trends and trades to take. I've seen hype 2 times, which is understandable considering it's been taking a little bit of a beating lately. I've seen Sol also. SPX, yeah, we can discuss it right after. Good morning, good afternoon, hello everyone. Hello everyone. Same in short at the moment, staying a good account to follow on Twitter for those who want and haven't member. Feels good to see you around. No, indeed, you are the swing good. It's good you can adapt. Well, yeah. It's not only a question of adapting, in my opinion. It's also because I'm spending basically all my days watching the charts anyway, and I mean, I'm just like everyone else. I'm gonna feel the urge to trade eventually. So you need to adapt to the conditions. And for me, basically, it's just, okay, conditions are more favorable for lower time frame trading. This is not necessarily what I do best, so I'm gonna do it with vastly reduced size, heavily take profit approach, even if sometimes, just like here, I'm gonna end up seeing the trade continue moving without me. But yeah, it's mostly what I've been doing. Hello Pierre, was a member of the Haven a couple of years ago when got into sex trading. Good to hear your analysis again. Hello Bond. Hello Bond. Glad to see you around. Glad to have some news. Hello Dupri. Hello everyone. XRP H bar. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense that tickers asked mostly were the one involved in the news this Sunday. Ada obviously is a part of that, so we can try to take a look at it if you guys want. I already discussed these on my stream on Monday in the Haven, so I should have some charts ready for them. We'll see how it developed since Monday stream and see if there is anything interesting to check or not. But all right. Okay, you know what? Let's. Oh, and Litecoin also. Same thing. We discussed it during last stream, so it could be interesting. We can take a look at grass, but I'm a bit mad at grass. I'm gonna show you why. Basically on grass, I've been watching grass for quite some time. I already missed two very good trades on grass a couple of weeks ago. This was the plan we did for grass in the Haven. I believe it was February 20 or something like this. Um, it ended up delivering the two trades, which I did not couch. I had this mapped out. I had this plan that I never took them, and basically we went back to grass um, on Monday stream, and I planned a potential trade on it based on a daily trend retest and this region. So far, it doesn't want to come back to the retest, so we'll see how it develops. Ideally, I would want to see it tighten up a little bit more before setting some bids. But yeah, we can discuss grass if you guys want. What's your play for Friday Summit? Okay, we're gonna be discussing all of that. I'm just gonna start with Bitcoin rapidly, and then we can discuss things a little bit more in detail. So I'm just gonna start with the daily picture. A reminder for those who were here during last stream, which I believe it was this Wednesday. I'm not 100% certain, but for me, if I'm not mistaken, last stream I was basically explaining that I was not very interested to play this daily 200 EMA retest initially, despite usually the system calling for daily 200 EMA plays, and we're gonna see it on SPX right after. The two main justifications I had for that was that we didn't had a lot to work with in the low 80s, high 70s region in terms of where do you want to place your stop, how far do you think you can deviate. So that was one of the main justification. And the second one I believe was mostly just gut feeling. I was just not feeling this retest. I was more inclined to let it develop. On a daily perspective, I stick to the fact that the main area to reclaim that we failed to do earlier this week is the low 90s. I believe it's not very much of a surprise for anyone trading these markets. I would assume that the low 90s region is basically what everyone's looking at and what's everyone expecting to play around. You can add some confluence, which helped this weekend to take some profit, which is the daily downtrend confluence with this region now, making it even more interesting to retest and reclaim if/when reclaimed. As of now, I don't have plans for compounding on the rest of my daily swing from last year and from the sub 60 region. I don't have a plan yet for that. I believe the two possible plans I could have could either be a breakdown if we end up losing the daily 200 MA, aiming for daily 300 MA in the mid 70s. But if I'm inclined to short that on Bitcoin, I believe I could have some better shots to catch in Shitcoin's world. So I'm not even sure I would take that. But a long that I would love to take could be after some consolidation, if the daily 200 MA region is defended, the daily downtrend catches down, we get a compression between the two. And after that, we break to the upside, we aim for a daily 100 MA retests, break to the downside, take some more off of the spot bags, and hope that the 70s see some defense. For now, we can see that the daily downtrend is catching down. If I can show you an example of a daily trend, a daily 200 EMA fight while the daily trend is catching down could be what happened to Link over the month of February. Daily 200 EMA defended while the daily trend catch down, got some compression between the two, and the breakdown gave what the breakdown did, obviously. But if I'm not saying this is gonna resolve that way for Bitcoin, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if we had such a structure, I think it could deliver some trade to take on higher time frames for Bitcoin. And it would basically be based on defend daily 200 EMA, break daily downtrend, aim for a gap fill to daily 100 EMA. Otherwise, just daily downtrend continuation, and unfortunately, we aim for lower. So I haven't done much on a daily perspective. I'm obviously watching, like everyone else, the mid 80s region, especially with the daily 200 EMA confluence. But I have not been making any moves off of the daily chart recently. I've mostly been focused on 15 minutes and 1 hour, basically. But yeah, that's the overall picture. If I had to give two main focuses, which is what I shared on Monday. This was the Monday main fight focuses that we shared during Monday stream. I think it's still a good shot. Basically, must reclaim range low. As I said, I believe it's fairly obvious, and basically need to break daily downtrend. Otherwise, must hold daily 200 EMA region, and basically consolidation in between. So what I said on Monday is still perfectly valid, I believe, and that's the overall bigger picture on Bitcoin. I'm thinking we, after the kind of volatility we had, depending on the kind of news we get on Friday's White House summit and all the tariff plays out, basically, I believe we could see this kind of price action. Basically, as I just said, some compression while daily downtrend catches down, and the low 80s see some bidding, and when we get to this point, I feel like I would be interested again to try a position on a bigger size for Bitcoin, but maybe it's a little bit of opium also. But yeah, we'll see. So that's the main picture for for daily. Let's move on to H4 chart. I believe that's the H1. H4 chart, this is what I had in mind when we did the stream on Monday. Sorry. Basically, the idea I had on Monday was bearish retest off of the news from Sunday. The main level you want to start seeing some defense, and I was wrong on it, obviously, because we basically just blasted through it, was the 86.5, 88 region, with the H4 trend in the middle. My main idea was, if we have some legs and if the market is strong enough, we see rejection from H4 200 EMA, 100 EMA, because we fill the gap, and then we have some sort of compression like this below the range. That was, to me, the main case scenario, the best case scenario, with some consolidation below the must reclaim level. But as you can see, we basically just blasted through it. And for those who were in the last stream, if you remember, one of the rule I have is whenever you start seeing trend disrespected, so basically lost, reclaimed, my main assumption when I'm seeing this kind of thing is trend disrespected means no trends, and mostly mean chop fest. And this is the fractal of February price action. As you can see, my main interrogation is, if we range and if H4 trend is disrespected, do we range in the high 80s region below the must reclaim level, or do we just have a fucking wider range, which for lower time frame traders would likely be fantastic? That's because we are talking about a potential 10% range on Bitcoin, so that would be pretty insane. Or shittier case scenario, we consolidate below, meaning that we consolidate below daily 200 EMA. I don't know yet. I still think that the 86.5, 88k region is a key fight, is a key place to fight for, especially today. Breaking it and flipping it deliver the move back to H4 100 MA, near H4 100 MA. But yeah, that was yesterday main focus. For those who were in the Telegram, basically yesterday what we said was, there are two things. There were two things to watch yesterday. There was daily 200 EMA on SPX, which was a trigger to get some longs and expect some death cat bounce across the board, and 86.5, 88k as a upside target for Bitcoin, which is basically the H1 trend you can see yesterday, this one. So yeah, triggered when SPX retested daily 200 EMA. Pico tapped it basically, and yeah, took profits at H1 200 EMA, gave the same setup another shot earlier during the night, right after New York Open. And unfortunately, we didn't went as far as I would have hoped for the rest of my targets. But yeah, so 86.5, 88k, probably a nice pivot to work with today. And if not defended again, that would just give more legs to my overall chop fest scenario, basically. If H4 trend is once again not respected, my main assumption would be something like this. And basically, unless we have giga news off of the White House summit, obviously, but that would be my main assumption. So yeah, currently I still have some of that long from earlier today running. half of it, a little bit more than half of it actually. I ended up keeping a little bit more, and I will basically cut it if we fail to defend H1 200 EMA and HY trend. So if we start getting this kind of price action, I will just back off of the rest of that long, and likely just let the rest of the day unfold, and that's basically it. That's basically it. So yeah, key fight right now, key place to fight for. I added some explanation of why this is the end of this trade. That's basically H4 100 EMA, 200 EMA range low, confluence. We can see it. And potential region to edge the rest of the long if you're keeping the rest of your long, but it depends, as I said, of the context overall. Are we retesting it into the Friday summit, in which case it can be a dangerous game if anything major is announced? Or yeah, I don't know yet if I'm willing to take this short or not, if/when offered, basically. So that's my main thoughts when it comes to SPX, Bitcoin, sorry. We can take a quick look at SPX. It's been the same shot I've had for quite some time. And yeah, I haven't not been looking at SPX a lot, and I believe it's a mistake because this retest we've got on Monday should have been a even bigger trigger to de-risk on the rest on Bitcoin and the rest of the market. It was a pretty clean bearish retest. And we basically filled the gap all the way down to daily 200 EMA. Last time it was retested was the Pico bottom in August 2024. And we have not lost it basically since November 2023. So it's a fairly key retest, I would say. I was inclined to play the retest yesterday. As I said, it's this tap yesterday that triggered my Bitcoin long aiming for 86.588. I don't think I'm interested to play it a second time. And I would say main scenarios would be, ideally you want this place to be defended into some chop fest while daily downtrend catches down. And if you were here at the beginning of the stream, that should remind you of some things, because this is basically what we discussed for Bitcoin also. Daily 200 EMA defense while the daily downtrend catches down, and some compression. Obviously, we are in a heavily news-driven market because the US administration is basically flip-flopping tariff positions every day or two, which to me, honestly, is nice to trade, but it's much more complicated to make plans for longer than a day, basically. So yeah, I was inclined to play a dead cat on a daily 200 EMA retest on SPX yesterday. I'm not as interested to do so today. One, because I'm streaming, so likely not going to be able to catch it anyway. And yeah, I'm usually okay playing the first bounce, vastly less the second one. So that's the overall picture for me. What's your thoughts on Crypto Summit and likely reaction? And below we had what's your play for Friday Summit? Personally, logging until Friday and taking profit right before the news. Any news? So I generally have no idea what to expect from this summit. On one end, I'm thinking that, okay, so first of all, it's a Friday evening. Like, they delivered this news last Sunday on a Sunday afternoon, Euro time. And now they are planning to potentially deliver more news regarding crypto market, or at least potential headlines involving crypto. Even if they don't announce anything, if there is a summit like this, you can expect maybe some people to talk, and therefore some headlines to come out on a Friday evening. So obviously this administration doesn't want us to have weekends, which sucks because yeah, I'm gonna be away this weekend. I'm going to Paris, which is the worst thing on earth, but I'm going to Paris to watch Ricky Gervais show, so that's gonna be pretty nice. So how do I want to play it? I'm gonna play it first if I'm awake when things happen, and likely I don't know if I want to be positioned heading into it. I feel like it's more of an event I want to play reactively, depending. That's what I was saying, depending on context over here. If we are in the low 90 region when the event starts, I would get ready for anything. Any bullish news could be enough to send us back in the higher part of the range and retest 6 digits. Just as if nothing comes out of it, I would expect because expectations could be big, to just fumble the news basically, and fumble the event. But I find this summit complicated to read because I genuinely don't know what is it. Just like some sort of a dinner, and they basically just repeat everything they already said, that they wanted to do a reserve or whatever they want to call it, blah blah blah, or is it used to to make announcements? Generally, I don't know. All I know is that unlikely I want to be positioned before end, and if I'm awake, I'm fine. I'm fine to trade it. I would probably approach it just like the news on Sunday, meaning that playing it low size, reduce risk, and heavily take profit approach. Don't blink twice if it off of the news it retests one way or another a level that you highlighted as place of importance, especially when the market is that schizo basically. So I don't if it's not like I have a proper plan, Ruben, and I don't have a proper plan because as of now I genuinely don't exactly know what they plan to do with that. Like, is it just a dinner between some rich friends and that's it, or is Trump going to talk? Because if Trump is going to talk, this could have an impact in the sense that personally I have a hard time expecting, for example, a Bitcoin reserve to be announced by anyone else but Trump. I would be surprised if Trump lets, for example, David Sachs or anyone else take the profits, not take the profits, but take the I don't know how to say it in English, but take the spotlight on announcing this news. I believe the day it's settled, it's going to be Trump himself announcing it. So maybe it could be the time to do so. But again, I don't know, and because I don't know, I'm not. I likely don't want to be positioned before. If your question implied, would you take profit on any position heading into the event? Likely yes. Any direction, to be honest. Yopia, good to see you again. I was in the Aver for a while last year. Yeah, Raven, I remember you. Nice to see you back. I hope your trading journey goes well, despite the conditions being what they are. But yeah, I hope you're doing great. USD requests. We can actually look at it, or you can just go and check Krilin's post on Twitter. He's usually nailing those kind of things. He's nailing a lot of shit, but he's very good in those kind of things also. I'm checking his Twitter right now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I highlighted the gap on the USD pair some time ago. Yeah, pretty clean. We can take a look at it, but that would be the last thing we take a look at, Stain, if we do so. For the second trade on H1 on Bitcoin, can you explain the reasoning for the trades? I wanted to take the trade, but the resistance line just above scared me. I imagine you're talking about this one. The main thesis behind that was the compression between a flat H1 200 EMA and H1 trend, basically. And it's a bit of a classic kind of compression. Flat H1 200 EMA, making it easier to break. I let it develop a little bit more, wanted to see H1 trend catch up, and when the trade happened, it basically, to me, it was either this play out and I'm waking up in the morning with a 90k retest, and ideally an H4 100 ml retest, which we did not get, and that's why I couldn't get more off of this trade yet. But that was the main reasoning. H1 200 EMA flat with H1 trend catching up with and compressing. No hard retrace, post US session. And actually I was lucky enough that we got some bullshit news in the morning to get to target one, basically. I don't know if we would have got this move, considering SPX was not moving, if it was not for the supposedly solid intel of announcement of the reserve this Friday. Most likely nothing. Burger Crypto Party. Take the cloud. Take the cloud. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I should know. I should know to say it in English, considering City is basically a cloud fest. But yeah, take the cloud is what I was trying to say. Credits. Okay, okay. Learn English with me, lads. In the end, I'm just French. Okay, so yeah, these guys, this give you basically the main thoughts I have, and the main levels of interest I have, whether it's SPX or Bitcoin. 86.5, 88K, which is basically what we shared on the Telegram this morning. If you guys want to check, yeah, this is basically the last post on the Telegram this morning for the updates. Must break, flip H1 200 EMA, so that's what we got. Just like Sunday, H4 100 EMA, H4 200 EMA, 1993 as a target. So that's, we already got the move this morning since the update. And then after that, a fight for 86, 80.5. And as I said, I was interested on playing the daily 200 EMA retest on SPX, but not as much as of today. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So is you all the first trade on H1 Bitcoin? Can you explain the reasoning on the trade? I wanted to take the trade, but the resistance line above. Oh, okay, that was the first trade. Sorry, I thought we were asking for the first one. So it was mostly a 15-minute trend-based trade, and as I said, a contextual trade more than technical because of the daily 200 EMA retest on SPX. I waited. I saw the first the daily 200 EMA retest was given, and I tried to wait and see the reaction first. And yeah, when we started seeing some reaction, I decided to pull the trigger. Was basically just that. As you can see, that was after this move. Sorry. To me, it was good enough to try to capture a move up to 86.5, 88. The two main reasoning was that Bitcoin was relatively stronger than SPX through the day, and meaning that for me the idea was, if SPX defends daily 200 EMA, we have an intraday long to take, and ideally this is enough to fuel a move up to H1 200 EMA, and gladly it was, but that was more of a contextual trade more than anything else. The entry and the trigger was contextual. The target was technical, basically. But again, I don't consider myself as a good lower time frame trader. I'm just navigating the market as I can. So maybe there were better approaches for it. All right, boys. I guess that's enough for Bitcoin. We can move on to a quick look right before we move into something else to see if there are any kind of news. Okay, basically just more Canada and US tariff talks. Trump and Trudeau are scheduled to speak this morning, so maybe we have more news regarding tariffs by the end of the afternoon and by the end of the day. Could be what's needed to either give us a 1993K retest, either unfortunately blast through 86, 88 again. But okay, that's the main piece of news we have this afternoon. The news carried my long. It is therefore solid intel. yeah, that's what I said this morning when I was discussing this with, I think it was with Blanc on Twitter. I was basically saying the solid intel gave me a target, so I believe this intel is correct. But yeah, any good reason for your trades to move yourself is a good reason. Okay, well, we can move on to some shitcoinery then, because again, I feel like everything been discussed. Let me do one thing before we move on to chat request. Before we move on to chat request, I'm gonna be sharing the chat that we just discussed in the Telegram channel for Bitcoin, so that you can go and check them yourself if you want. I'm gonna be sharing the Bitcoin daily and H4 charts, which I believe are the main pieces of information. And I will do the same for the chat requests we're gonna cover. I'm gonna keep track of them, make a list, and I will be sharing all the charts in the Telegram at the end of the stream. Okay, so first one is hype. TP2 hit on my short. Let's fucking go. Congrats, Stain. Nice trade, mate. Okay, hype. I have some. Okay, so let's discuss hype. So again, hype. For a reminder, for those who might not have been here for the last stream, I tried to position myself during January. It got bullied a first time. Got bullied a second time despite giving targets 2 times. And basically, when I got weaked out on the move early February, I decided to, okay, I've been forcing too much. It's obviously not showing any sign of trendy behavior. This is not the kind of environment I should be playing. Just stop being an idiot. Wait at least for 27, 28 to be broken, or wait for any kind of trendy behavior to set up if you want to play the upside. The main idea initially was to either position myself in this compression, which as you can see did not play very well for me, either wait for a breakthrough the 27, 28 and then ride the move all the way up to Prophecy Week. But yeah, unfortunately for hype, gladly for me, because I believe it was a good decision to basically just stop trying to trade it. It's been cancer ever since. But yeah, so what's the situation for hype? So this is from Monday stream again. And unfortunately, yeah, that was what I said on Monday. On Monday, the main conclusion we had for hype was that to save the range, we wanted to see hype break the H4 downtrend and give a move back to H4 200 EMA, H4 100 EMA within the range. Otherwise it was H4 downtrend continuation, and we aim lower. And unfortunately, as you can see, it went for the H4 downtrend continuation. And yeah, it's a tough place for hype right now because, yeah, despite Bitcoin bounce back into the 88, 89K region, it's still stuck below H4 trend, and it's flipping resistance what was last week's support basically. So my main conclusion looking at this chart is H4 trend continuation until proven otherwise, with the 14.5, 15 region as a target. Was post airdrop, it was the first initial resistance before the big move up into the 30s basically. So I would assume it's a place people are watching. I'm not necessarily interested to beat it. I usually, for those who don't know, I'm not much of a where. I don't care much of where price is. I'm more interested of how the trend is behaving, in a sense that very often I have the question, where do you want to bid? And for me, it's more, when do I want to bid? And when is basically when in uptrend. So the two main situations for hype right now is, to me, the two obvious trades are either H4 trend continuation, aiming for the 14-15 region with an invalidation on an H4 close back above 18.5 basically, which would give the opportunity for a long target aiming for a long trade, aiming for the H4 100 MA 200 MA retest. I'm not interested to play that. To me, it's the main obvious gaps that there are in the chart right now. But yeah, I'm not interested much. Should I clean that chart a bit, because it is a complete shit show, these charts. CoinEx must have some price action, not much. Did Bybit listed all the way till the okay. Yeah, I'm cleaning up the chart a little bit. But basically, if you're looking to play hype short term, this is your must break, must flip level. Confluence of H4 downtrend and last previous support basically. break through H4 downtrend, break back above support, flip it back support, basically simple support resistance flip aligned with H4 downtrend could be enough of a signal for a gap fill up to H4 200 EMA. And the associated setup could look like this, where basically you want to position yourself on a retest of this place, invalidation on the incapacity to hold H4 above. The thesis behind that is confluence of a simple horizontal level and H4 trend, which acted as a strong resistance before. If bullish, this should flip support. If not bullish, if this doesn't flip support, at best it just chop fast. At worst, it just resume the downtrend. So that would be your invalidation. Otherwise, obviously, a short continuation. Aiming for the 14-15 region. This would be the two main setup, both basically based around H4 downtrend and previous support confluence. This is the most obvious thing I can see on this chart short term. But again, as I said, likely not very interested to play it. But still, I'm not interested, but you know what? I'm still gonna set some alerts at 20 and at 15, 14. Let's see what get retested first. But yeah, okay. Basically, your level of interest is 18 up to 18.5. This is the pivot, in my opinion. And H4 downtrend. Break H4 downtrend, get back above 18.5. At least it's safe short term. Maybe it only gives a gap fill up to this region, this would still be a 10 to 15% move to capture. It's nice, but maybe you have better to chase elsewhere. Otherwise, just simple downtrend continuation if the market is not good enough to hold 86.5, 88 basically. All right, let's move on to something else. Sol. I've been trading Sol, but a little bit like Bitcoin, mostly lower time frame focuses, which I hate myself a little bit for. I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna explain why I'm a bit mad about myself on the Solana part of things. On one end, I'm more than happy with the exit on the rest of my swing mid-February, simply because, as you can see, basically the invalidation of the swing flipped resistance. So that's nice. At least it's a signal of a good invalidation. Why I'm mad? Because I believe that when I decided to take profits on the Sunday move, I had enough good reasons to short this retest on Solana. And actually, in the dedicated thread on Solana that I have in the Haven, you can see that that was for Aave, I believe, but yeah, it was the same thought process. Not shorting this retest because I was mostly focused on Bitcoin and XRP of the news, but I'm a bit mad because in the main things I believe I did wrong lately and in the end of 2024 was not trading my invalidations. What I mean by that is very often I ended up exiting at good times with long invalidation, swing longs invalidation being at the right places, meaning that after invalidated, they kept shitting the bed, but which is good, obviously, that's something you want, but it also means that very often I could have just come back for my trade, see if my invalidation is retested from below and give a shot basically. And it was particularly true with a lot of meme coins, whether it was Popcat, whether it was a lot of them. I ended up stop trading them as soon as daily trend was lost, and after that they basically just printed 90% drawdown, 80% drawdown, and I missed the entire move to the downside. So that's why I'm a bit mad that I did not automatically shorted that with size, but so be it. With that being said, this doesn't change much what I believe on Solana. I still think that the main area of interest is the one highlighted in our last stream together, which is the wide 180 up to 210 to $200 region. If I remove a little bit of some drawings, EMA wise, I believe it's fairly obvious confluence of daily 200 EMA, 100 EMA daily trend. If I'm willing to swing long on Solana, if it's not from lower levels, that would be on a reclaim of this entire region. And I'm fine absolutely missing this entire move up. But yeah, mostly mad of not automatically shorting that retest on Sunday. That was a dumb move from me. But yeah, main picture on Solana, main levels of interest for me, that's the 165 up to 180 area was a key level during last year range, and now it's in confluence with daily trend, daily 200 EMA, all curving down basically. And on the downside, a level that I believe everyone is watching, it's the 120 region. But yeah, let's take a look at lower time frame to see if there are any trades that could be taken. Okay, I remember doing a chart on Monday. Okay, no, that's not from Monday. That's from a stream before. Okay, remove things. Even on lower time frame, when I'm seeing this, I'm even more mad at myself on the Sunday stream, on the Sunday short. Not to put size on that, such an absolute perfect H4 200 EMA retest. But yeah, anyway, I don't see any obvious trades short term. There was probably a short to take earlier today on this, but right now it's a little bit in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I don't see an obvious trade. I don't see an obvious trade. I guess on a very bullish news for Sol, you could see another tap into H4 200 EMA, but not entirely certain on that. This looks like something I don't want to trade, basically. And the justification is H4 trend disrespected, reclaimed it, lost, reclaimed, lost, trying to reclaim, but does nothing. Yeah, I'm not interested. You can see it more on H1, basically with all the moving averages being at the same place and all flat. This is a good testimony of lower time frame trend, less price action. So sorry, no, I see no trades on Solana short term. But again, I'm still gonna share this daily chart, at least because it highlights this level, which I believe is basically the most important part for Solana. But yeah, not interested to trade Solana anymore. The trade to take was the short of this region, and if you missed it, I believe this is a no trade zone basically. If I had to, okay, you know what? Let me clean up a little bit the chart, because I mean this swing is long gone. I can delete it now. I'm gonna let what were our targets, because I believe they were good levels to work with. And they could be good targets to have eventually if / when we take a similar long. But yeah. Yeah, okay. This is mostly the way I'm seeing things for our beloved Solana bags. I mean Solana bags. Solana trades. Okay. Hello Pierre, what do you think about Kato right now? It got listed and pumped 60% this morning. Let me take a look at Kato. I don't. Okay. I only remember sharing this on last Thursday stream in the Haven. Very classic trend loss, aiming for the gap fill of H1 100 MA and H1 200 MA. A classic in the system. For anyone that's been following for some time, this is basically 90% of the trades I take lately. So what's my thought on Kato? Let's add Kato to the list. By the way, I'm not ending the stream before we finish all of that, so sorry if I'm taking my time. I'm trying to give as many explanation as I can. I'm yapping a lot. Avid members know that, but I won't end the stream before we finish all of these. And again, they will be shared in the Telegram. XRP, it's already on the list, brother. It's already on the list. Okay, so Kato pumped 60% this morning. Okay. To me, this looks a little... Okay, on H1 and H4, it looks a little bit like shit. My reasoning for that is if it managed this morning to hold above this region, basically, this would have looked much better. And I believe you had another trade to catch for a retest of this region. The level is pretty clear, in my opinion. Support, resistance, flip support, all that support initially, strong breakdown, and basically no fighting with this region. So my main thoughts looking at this is you have this very wide box right now, which is H1 trend, H1 100 MA. You want to see this by the end of, by the close or during the next few hours, you want to see this defended into more compression like this. If that was to happen, I believe you have two main trades coming for you eventually. You have breakout of the compression, a little bit like the Bitcoin long from this morning, where basically you have compression between H1 100 MA, 200 MA, which is getting flatter, and the H1 trend that's curving up with some compression like this. Ideally, that's what you would want to see from Kato short term. And this could translate into a long that aims for the retest of this level. It's a pretty wide move to catch, but that means it could be interesting. And basically your setup could be something like this. If we add some details, and basically it's 1.9.0 level basically. If you get both of these conditions respected, which would basically mean Bitcoin not cheating the bed and Kato exiting the potential compression, in that case, entry as close as possible to H1 200 MA, H1 100 MA, H1 trend confluence. Invalidation on incapacity to flip, to hold. Target one would be somewhere in the mid-range basically, so that could be these highs that, oh fuck me. I fucking hate when I do that on TradingView. I need to do this. Fuck me. Someone asked me earlier why I was not planning to trade more than this today. I believe you have your answers. I cannot even click correctly on the screen, so let alone trying to trade that. Bitcoin above. Can you just Control Z? No, not when it's not when you are actually typing it. But it's much better. For those who were on CT and trading crypto a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, but we had a period of time where sometimes TradingView would just basically delete all your charts and you had to do everything all over again. I'm just gonna speed run. Okay, that's just an idea. If the market doesn't shit the bed and Kato manages to break through the highs. Now, in terms of context, considering that the move was fueled off of some listing or whatever, and it still failed to flip the level, maybe this doesn't play out. Maybe that's the opposite. And the opposite for me would basically be a flip loss of this level. In which case you have an argument to try and shorting this. It can be tricky because that looks like a easily pumped chart, and I would assume that for a newly listed shitcoin they might want to play some tricks. But you could have an argument to try and catch a short on a failure to pump, basically aiming for the retest of the lows. This would probably be a more of a setup like this. So the conditions would be mostly Kato failing to hold H1 trend, basically post pump. The retest would be on an H1 trend, retest, invalidation. I believe you want to have a tight invalidation on that, because if it was to break down, you don't want to see it back inside the compression region. On reclaim of H1 trend / back inside compression. If it fails to break down, you need to fight it. Looking at the chart like this, I think this has a bigger chance to play out than the long part. But again, because it's a newly listed shitcoin, maybe they have some tricks, some news, some things to push their coin. That could be enough. Writing too small, can't read. In any case, the charts will be shared in Telegram at the end of the stream if you want. Is the Telegram public? Yeah, it is. Which, you know what, I'm sharing the link in the chat if you guys want. All of those will be shared in the Discord. It's unlikely that I'm trading that, but if, for example, going into the weekend the market has not died and Kato tried to reclaim this level as a weekend trade, this could be interesting. But yeah, for now it's failing to defend H1 trend after a nice pump. So yeah, I guess the main plans could be some things like this. All right, let's move on to another one. Let's move on to H-bar, which, I don't know, it's 2025 and we are still watching H-bar. I find this absolutely insane. But America coin, right? Okay, let me grab a little bit of water because I'm yapping a fucking lot. Let's take a quick look at what SPX and Bitcoin doing before we move on to the next chart requests. Not much. In terms of news, what do we have? Do we have anything interesting happening? Do we have any news? No, just more tariff discussions. And Bitcoin, what does it do? So far, this is not the most convincing H1 reaction you want to see, but it's fighting. It's fighting. Basically, I will be cutting this long if this is lost. Maybe I should have paid myself more in insights, especially considering it was a pre-New York Open move. But I got greedy and I really wanted to see that orange box tagged. Maybe I will regret it, and maybe this is why I'm not necessarily a lower time frame trader. But we'll see how it ends for me. We'll see how it ends for me. APR, from the bunch of trading strategy you have with your EMA system, which specific trade strategy you would recommend for beginner trader? I would recommend sticking to the daily time frame and sticking to is price above daily trend. Yes, then I allow myself to touch the green button. If not, then I don't. And I would try to if I would say the basic rules would be the basic rules. Stick to daily. Anything below is likely irrelevant because anything you're gonna watch below daily trends, daily time frame, likely means that you're more actively trading the market than this. And unless you have proper time to dedicate to the market, it's likely more noise than anything else. So I would stick to the daily time frame, and I would stick to green button allowed if daily is above daily trend. If/when daily trend disrespected, you're lost and or lost/reclaimed. I'm gonna use Bitcoin example to highlight that. If when daily trend is respected, take some off at least. I would stick to that. The main reason for me, again, is because I believe too many people are trying to replicate what they're seeing on CT, meaning chats, people with managing to trade news, managing to trade lower time frames. It's perfectly fine to accept that not everyone should be trading lower time frames, not everyone should be day trading. That's why when I discuss lower time frame trends, I always say that I personally know perfectly that this is not my main strength. I do it to feed my trading addiction basically, and to keep and to basically keep a pulse of the market and remain active, remain engaged, because I am trading this every day basically, and I believe it's important to keep a sense of the market. But because I usually size more on swings, if/when the market conditions are not fit for that, at least in my perspective, I go back to lower time frame trading, but I do so with vastly reduced size. So for someone that's not spending 18 hours per day in front of the charts, I would say stick to higher time frames, daily, weekly, ideally. You could even have another rule that says that if price is below weekly trend, don't even think about engaging with the market. Price above weekly trend, this is the moment you want to start looking for buys. But basically stick to the daily, stick to a simple, is price above daily trend? Yes, then I can allow myself to buy some things. You're gonna miss bottoms, you're likely not gonna sell tops, but you're probably gonna spend less time breaking your brain. And for example, on things like if BTC, you would have basically avoided all the if downtrend and all the if shit show just by simply sticking to the daily time frame. Just as much as you would have caught basically all the moves from Bitcoin ever since FTX crash. So stick to that. If/when daily trend disrespected, that's what I highlighted at the beginning of the stream using the H4 example. but I'm gonna take my own swing example for that. And this is already something I discussed on the last stream, but let's just discuss it again. Mid-December, we got the first daily trend break after basically 60k up to 90k, 98k, even the first step into the 6 digits. And this is what triggered the target fall for me. Unfortunately, not at the top, like one could hope or like City could fake. But to me, that was enough trend loss, attempt to reclaim the trend, and just not respected, meaning that I consider this as a trend not respected. And as I said earlier, if something is good to highlight the trend, then it should be just as good to highlight the lack of it. You can have different rules. For me, over the years, one of the rule I've had is as soon as I'm starting to see a trend lost, reclaimed lost, it's enough for me to consider that we're gonna have at least some chop vests, at worst some gap fills. So that was what triggered this take profit back then. In inside, good decision. Once again, I don't know if you remember what I said earlier for swing for Sol, but once again, invalidation, flipping resistance. So yeah, that could be one of your rule. That could be one of your trigger to when disengage with the market and when take a step back, when consider, obviously they're gonna have some fake outs. You're gonna have some situations where the trend is disrespected and then it's reclaimed and it keeps going up. If that's the case, nothing forbids you from re-engaging with the market. But personally, I know that most often than not, this rule has helped me more than it has cost me. And yeah, basically stick to the daily, stick to simple horizontal level and daily trend. And forget about the idea of playing the market like the chat scalpers you'll see on your timeline. They either have, usually it's both, but they either have spent tens of thousands of hours in front of the charts, they are professional of that, and or simply just talented. You have some people who have a taste for the market and a gut feeling for the market that makes them fantastic news trader and fantastic lower time frame traders. Thinking about people like Loma, like Nexus, those kind of people. And it's perfectly fine accepting that you are not. Statistically, it's unlikely that you are, so stick to the daily time frame. Be a mid-curve trader like me. Try to survive as long as you can, and eventually you can build a hedge by your own. But to keep things as simple as possible, and over the years, I personally found that sticking to a few imaginary lines and horizontal levels is what was the simplest to me. And I will finish this on why keeping things as simple as that. For a mid-curve trader like me, what has been the most complicated part trading wise has always been to second thought my invalidations, meaning that I take a trade, it comes for the invalidation, and instead of respecting it, I'm like, fuck, but what if I'm getting faked out? What if it's a week? What if the market reverses? And the only way I found that is effective to fight that is to take setups where I know I cannot possibly second think my invalidations. And the way for me to do that is to find confluence, simple confluence, usually just a simple horizontal level with a couple of moving averages, just like the swing on Solana. The invalidation was simply, this was a high before, this is the confluence with daily 200 EMA. If we start closing below, it's enough to get the fuck out. And my brain cannot fight this reasoning because, I don't know, it makes perfect sense. So find invalidations that you know you're gonna stick to, basically. And it sounds extremely easy said that way because it sounds extremely obvious, but the truth is that it's not as easy to apply. So yeah, I would stick to higher time frame and simple trending approach plus horizontal, a simple support resistance flip should do the trick. And one more thing, I would not disperse myself too much, meaning that I would not try to be playing both trenches and perps and Bitcoin swing or whatever. I would pick a side and stick to it, whether it's sticking to majors, whether it's sticking to shitcoins. But in any case, do not disperse yourself too much, and it goes along with the idea of sticking to the daily time frame, because it likely means that you don't have 15 hours per day to dedicate to the market. So not dispersing yourself too much likely gonna avoid fucking up the execution. Let's take a quick look at SPX coming back for the daily 200 EMA retest almost. I would assume that the boomers are once again discussing tariffs. For a noob in City with his ARP news, is it worth bidding for spot, and where do you think would be a clean entry for spot or just to start DCA? So as I said earlier in the stream, I'm not much of a where people. I am a when people, meaning that I don't care if Bitcoin was to reclaim the daily trend at 95k, I would be fine buying it as much as if it was at 40k. To me, it's more when than where. So I don't have an answer for you in my system at least. But we can take a look at the Bitcoin chart if you want and see if we can find some fairly obvious levels to work with. First of all, what do I mean by when and not where? It basically just means that if the daily downtrend is reclaimed here, I will be a buyer. If it's reclaimed here, I will be a buyer. If it's reclaimed here, I will be a buyer. I don't care much where it's reclaimed. I just care about buying when it's above the daily trend, basically. As simple as that. Now, talking about key levels, I would say that the mid-80s is already an important level to fight for. Mostly because of the daily 200 EMA confluence, but also because of the past few days of price action starting to build a base. Ideally, you want to see this region defended. Otherwise, I guess one level that a lot of people are going to be watching is the 65-70k region. It was last year range high, but it's also last cycle all-time high, so it's likely to be a place watched. So I would say, yeah, mid-80s, if not defended, you have 60k. If we were to start spending some time back inside the 2024 range, keep your chips for lower. So I wish I had some more definitive levels that I could tell you, but because my approach is more based on how price reacts to trends, I don't think I'm the best person to give you these kind of levels. And obviously I'm biased, but I believe you might do better thinking that way more than thinking where. But it's also unfair to say that, because once again, I am in the position where I can check the market every day, and my life is spending time in the market watching charts. So obviously I have much better chances to spot trend reversals early compared to someone that cannot spend all his time on the market. So probably it's easier for me to have this approach. But yeah. Have you covered grass yet? No, but you know what? Let's just take a look at it now. So the good thing is that I already have it covered from Monday stream in the Haven. So yeah, for me, grass comes down to the confluence of this horizontal level. It's a pretty obvious one. Acted as a support a few times before breaking down. Acted as a resistance initially. Came for the retest of daily trend from above. Got defended and blasted through it. My ideal setup is not actually here, and that would be more here. Why? Because ideally I would want the daily trend to catch up with this level, because the higher the daily trend is, the tighter I can have my invalidation, the lower I can dedicate size to the trade to meet my risk reward, basically. So I would ideally want to see it spend the next few days, one, holding above this region, but two, holding daily trend while the daily trend tightens and catches up. And then I believe we could have a much tighter setup to play with. And I believe it's pretty much what I said on Monday stream. So The conditions are grass above daily trend, indeed. Grass daily above 2.15, 2.35. Maybe it's not above, but it's above and or at least within. Meaning that I would be okay if it starts consolidating within this region. Entry on a retest of the level, invalidation, incapacity to flip daily trend, stop loss to be placed below daily trend. Therefore, ideally, we get some consolidation first so that the daily trend catches up. This is what I just explained. And then mid-range target 1 and the end of range target 2. This is the setup that I would be willing to take on grass in a couple of days. Maybe even into the weekend. If I'm taking the risk that it moves without me and that this is the best of a retest it can give. But in current market conditions, I'm much more inclined to be patient and wait for a setup to be more fitting and more and tighter, basically, than take blindly setups. But yeah, this is my main thoughts on grass. And you will be able to find this chart in the Telegram after the stream when I will be sharing all of them. I think I missed the question. Just out of curiosity, what percentage do you risk on a A plus swing setup? It's gonna depend on the conditions. I used to have very strict rules when it comes to that. I used to be never above 2%, those kind of things, 0.25 for a scalp, etc., etc. I realized that for someone who is very much a momentum and trend trader like me, I need to be more flexible with these kind of things, meaning that when I'm riding a trend that I'm confident in, I need, because it doesn't happen often in a year, because it's usually happening 2-3 times a year and the rest of the time the conditions are more shitty, I need to size up more and risk more when I'm okay with trending conditions, like with the Bitcoin swing at the end of the year. In this case, I can have much bigger risk. Can have up to 10% risk, up to 15% risk of the folio on this kind of swings. But this is also because it's not initially 10% risk. It's basically sizing up as the trend develops by compounding, for example. But yeah, I'm much more flexible. In current conditions, I'm risking, in all the trades you're seeing on the H1 and all of those things, I'm risking not even 0.5. It's not even 0.5. I think it's 0.25 per trade, something like this. Not even that. I need to check, but I think it's even less than that if you calculate on the entire size of the folio. Again, simply because it's not my strength, it's not my main approach of the market, it's not where I feel the most comfortable with. I know that eventually the market is gonna deliver swing opportunities. I need to go big when it happens, and I'm not going to be able to go big when it happens if I burn myself trying to overtrade conditions that are not ideal for me, basically. Okay, we can move on to the next one. APR, what's your current positioning for Bitcoin? Did you exit your long from lower? If you already covered it, I'll rewatch. You can go back at the beginning of the stream. I spent the first 30 minutes, I believe, discussing Bitcoin H1, H4 daily, and I discussed the latest position I'm in, which is a long from yesterday evening that already had target 1 hit, and that will be invalidated if we don't see a defense in the current region being retested, highlighted as must hold / flip. And if that fails, I would be expecting mostly that until the Friday event. Okay, next one is H-bar, which I believe I covered also on Tuesday. I don't really, yeah, let me check if I have a H-bar chart that is up to date. Okay. I would have been stopped on that, I believe. H-bar, USDT on Bybit. Okay. This is the main point of view I have on H-bar from Monday stream, sorry. Which is, okay. that. Okay. And this, what we just saw, was on H1, and the idea was, okay. I would have been. The idea on this on Monday was to capture the move down to H1 100 MA, H1 200 MA. So I did not take it, but it would have played out. I don't think I would even have an entry because it never came for the retest of the H1 trend, but it did fill the gap to H1 100 MA, 200 MA, and bounced. But I think it's more interesting to look at H bar on a higher time frame, daily particularly. I think the main conclusion for H bar, and it's gonna be the same thing for Link, I believe, is there is one level that matters to me. It's this level. It's 0.25, 0.27, as I said above, in the main idea on Monday again. Simply because obvious support, breakdown, flip resistance so far, daily 100 MA confluence. So I don't have much to add from this chart. I believe it's the correct approach of H bar short term. Ideally, what I would want to see is daily trend defended with daily 100 MA compression. It's the exact same thought process than for the grass situation that we talked about, but on the way down. On grass, we said that ideally we wanted to see some consolidation, compression, while daily trend catches up, because the tighter daily trend is, the tighter the invalidation you can have. And I believe it's the same situation on H bar, but the other way around. Ideally, I would want to see daily trend defended into daily 100 MA compression, so that you can have a better entry when it breaks down, or you can have a better entry when it breaks up with a tighter invalidation. But basically, if I have any trades to take on H bar, they would be based on a daily trend loss plus rejection from this region, aiming for daily 100 MA and daily 300 MA, and or hopefully for the market, this breaks to the upside and you have the setup. And I would front run this region if I was long. I would probably pay myself before, likely more in this. Fuck you. Likely more in this region. So yeah, I believe it's the main approach for H bar. So I don't know who asked for H bar, but if you're actively looking to trade this, if you're long already, I believe what you want to see is daily trend being defended. If it starts closing below daily trends, I believe, unless external news, at best you're expecting chop fest and daily 200 MA retest. If we manage to break through the resistance from this weekend plus daily 100 MA, I believe this opens the gap. This opens the door, for a bigger move. But again, ideally, for me, the two best trades to take would be after some consolidation, and you basically trade the side that gets resolved. I'm gonna still take a look on lower time frame, see if we can find anything that could be taken short term. Let's. I need to add Kato to the watch list. Okay, potentially breaking down. I'm gonna add Kato so that I might be interested to trade it eventually. Yeah. So far, not showing the kind of strength you would want to see. Okay, H bar. I wanted to check lower time frame. Not much to work with on H1, and not much to work with on H4. So yeah, that's why I ended up I remember now on Monday when we discussed it on stream with the lads from the Haven, the main conclusion was the only obvious thing I see is on the daily time frame. So let's stick to the daily time frame. Okay. API, what's okay? I just already answered that question. We can move on to the next chart request, which would be XRP. Yeah. XRP has been a fantastic trade through the end of last year. I have not been trading it much ever since I got my daily trend loss here. This resonates a little bit with what we discussed earlier. How I usually just automatically exit when the daily trend starts to break. Okay. I'm gonna clean things up. I'll just use another chart because I think there could be a setup on H4 here. The thing is that I want to trade XRP, but I also know that we are always one tweet away from a 10% candle, no matter the direction, that can fuck you up. Because it's in the wordings of the potential stockpile or reserve, or again, I don't know how they want to call it. They changed name 2 times already. But I guess short term, yeah. I think you have this long to capture, or basically this short. The two main gaps I'm seeing are these ones. You would need to see Bitcoin not cheating the bets, but H4 trend defended with some H4 200 EMA, H4 which is flat. This is the potential repeat, not repeat, but this is setting up the same way than the H1 trade taken yesterday with flat H1 200 EMA, trend catching up, compression in between. This could be seen the same way, but on H4. Yeah. I'm not interested to position myself within the compression like yesterday on Bitcoin, like this night on Bitcoin. But I cannot neither. I feel like if I'm willing to trade anything, this would be one of these two setups. But I'm not a big fan of the short one because I would need to have an invalidation that looks like this, and which is basically failed breakdown, and your short is invalidated only if we start closing above what's been the wicks lately. But in the same time, my main target would be that level and the lows printed yesterday, on Monday, sorry. Meaning that the risk reward, if it doesn't go all the way to the last target, is pretty shit. And maybe if I'm willing to short anything, I could have something much weaker than XRP to short. So as much as I think this could be filled in terms of gap fill, I also think that if I was to trigger that short on XRP, maybe I have something much weaker to trade on the downside. Wink, wink, if, for example. So I would probably keep an eye for this potential long to play out by Friday, meaning that if until Friday it manages to consolidate below a flat H4 200 EMA, I think we could have this trade to take, and basically you start paying yourself in the blue box, the blue region, take profit region. Yeah, That's probably my main conclusions for XRP. This is a no trade zone for me. There is an argument to say that it failed to flip support what was a key level last week and that we should prioritize shorting. But again, this is a coin that is being mentioned every time we have a news regarding stockpile, crypto, whatever. So maybe weaker shitcoins to short if/when you're willing to trigger the short. You have a nice move on Ondo today. Okay, nice move, but this one also, Jesus, the more I open the charts, the more I see absolute perfect bearish retest that I should have taken on Sunday. It even went for a new low. That should have been an automatic short for me. Fuck me. Fuck me, fuck me. Anyway, okay. Ada. You know what? I'm gonna do Litecoin first because I know that Litecoin is gonna take a minute to do the chart requests. Okay, so again, this is something we discussed during last stream together. And the main idea was the only obvious level and the only thing I would be willing to work on Litecoin was a breakthrough the resistance that's been extremely clean and clear since December. I would have been willing to take this setup, but nothing in between. But I already know what people are watching when they are seeing this chart. They are seeing this potential range low. And honestly, it makes sense. Daily 200 EMA plus a fairly as obvious support as that was a resistance. But I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested. I believe you have indeed a potential for a key level to be defended. And maybe you have an argument for this kind of long. But yeah, I'm not particularly interested. It's a very big trade, obviously. I would have a target at mid range here, which could be in confluence with daily 100 MA eventually. I need to stop clicking on this fucking thing. Yeah, okay. I'm not taking it, but this is the main setup I could see. You would need Bitcoin not to shit the bed. Definitely. But if you're bullish Litecoin, this is a retest of the main risk with this long, and it's why I'm not taking it, is that as you can see, it's pretty weaky. Like, I'm not sure just having your stop below the week low is enough of a good justification for an invalidation. And earlier I said that what I was always aiming for was for invalidations that I know I'm gonna stick to and not double think. Well, if I was to take this trade and I'm wicked out, I will always keep in mind the way it ended up going back above the level, and I would likely just second think my invalidation. It's just not clean enough for me. But it's a level that makes sense. So this is my main view on Litecoin. Sorry. If I'm not willing to take this long, at the very least, I don't think it's a good place anymore to be looking for Litecoin shorts, obviously. But in a world where Bitcoin holds 86, 88K today and gets a move into 93K, I think this could be enough to give at least a retest of 115, which would be a 15% move to capture. So it's honestly decent. If lost, I think you could look below that week. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm not interested to play the retest right now, but if during the next few days it's defended and start building a base, and or if it wicks below and end up closing back above, I think I would be interested to long the reclaim. This is the way I would be playing it. Yeah, maybe more something like this. Taking a quick look on the news. Cosmos based USD stable coin goes live. Do you remember Cosmos? Do you remember Cosmos? The good old days. That makes me want to check Cosmos. We probably should not, because that's probably going to depress us. But let's take a look at Cosmos Atom. I don't think I touched Atom a single time since last cycle. Okay, yeah, the 2023. I actually shorted the bottom. Last time I touched it, I shorted the bottom. Was a classic. Classic. Wow. That's insane. It's at the same it's at the same levels that it was in 2019. Is there a place where it has more price history? Usually it's more on Poloniex, but I would assume that was just a simple listing on all exchanges. Yeah. That's fucking nuts. We are seeing a little bit of a defense of the must hold flip level. We'll see if if the market is kind enough to give me the rest of my targets by the end of the day or not. As you can see, H4 100MA is getting lower and lower. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm just gonna pre-size cut if lost. Okay. Do you have any questions? Do you remember Icon, ICX? Yeah, let's take a look. You know that there are chances that it looks better than Atom? Oh, no. Wow. Come on, Jesus. Brings back the good old days. This reminds me of the one chain. Man, these coins got a gigantic revival in 2021. In my opinion, that's all you know that this cycle has been nothing like the previous one. Like we did not get any kind of previous cycle coins revival, basically. It's actually printing new lows. No, not yet. Wow. Okay, anyway, sorry, let's back to the chat requests. So Leadcoin, we did it. Yeah, we can take a look at 3, guys, if you want. I'm gonna take a look at it. Leadcoin, it's done. 3, I hesitated a lot earlier to short it. The justification was mostly this retest of H4 trend and previous week low, but I decided not to, mostly because of local Bitcoin strength and because H4 trend has not been very respected, meaning that I would not be surprised if it spikes into this level. So it was not clear enough, so I decided not to, basically. In this kind of environment, again, I know I said it a few times already during the stream, but I either have a clear setup. More than ever, the market is so unforgivable that, yeah. What's your view on needed catalyst for alt bull markets, such as quantitative easing from the Fed? I'm not much of a predictor. Again, I'm a trend follower, so I follow what the market does more than trying to pretend, not trying to predict. However, I'm sticking to what I think has been true since the end of last cycle. My main conclusion end of last cycle was that the market is getting more and more segmented into parts. Meme coin, DeFi. We used to have basically a fragmentation per chain, and that the longer basically dilution, and that the more it was to happen, the less we would get dispersed alt season, and that the more I would think alt season would be concentrated in segments. I want to believe that everything we are seeing right now, the SEC ending his cases against pretty much everyone in the market. I want to think that eventually this can benefit DeFi, if DeFi, Solana DeFi, especially American coins, a combination of all of that. And I want to think that if/when we purged the things enough, eventually we get a window where DeFi coin gets a momentum, and the perfect display would be only this section that gets momentum, and no particular meme coin season in parallel, and that eventually that we reconcentrate the capital to have a giga runner basically. In my mind, this is the main thing I have in mind. For example, on Aave, I'm currently flat ever since this swing was lost on the loss of daily 200 EMA. But I know that eventually through the year, or at least I hope for the market, but I think that through the year I'm gonna be swinging long Aave again, and I hope that it's because it's gonna be one of the leader of a DeFi renaissance. Fueled by deregulation in the US, fueled by no fear of the SEC anymore. That's my main catalyst. I believe that we have not seen the market pump much on the news of the SEC dropping cases. Is a perfect example of market being shit at pricing news short term, but eventually gonna be able to price it better long term. And I believe it's the best we could get. Combination of altcoins on sex, with an easily sold narrative, either to normies or to suits. I'm betting on that. Will it be through new coins? Will it be from Dino coins? I don't know. But at least I think that's what you want and that you need to hope for. At some point, some legs, some rallies, fueled by anything more as a narrative than just pure speculation. Even if you in the end, it's just speculation, right? But yeah, that's what I would like to see. And can it align with low volatility summer, a little bit like we got DeFi summer in 2020? Maybe. Honestly, I don't know. I won't pretend I have the keys on that. I would love, in one end, I would love to, obviously, because I believe that this is the kind of coins that tend to respect my system very well. But in the same time, if it has to happen during the summer, that sucks because I'm usually pretty much AFK during summer. Do you ever go big spots? Yes, but I want to precise that I don't treat spot differently than any other trades. And I believe that it's a big misconception from a lot of people that they think that because they cannot get liquidated, they should just be able to enter a position without any kind of invalidations. And 2 weeks later, it's down 20%, and they are now thinking, should I exit or not? Meaning that there are no plans. And they are already mid-fucked by that because, yeah. So, yeah, but if I do go big spot, that just means that I have a good swing setup that I'm willing to put confidence in. And yeah, we discussed it a little bit earlier during the stream. Sui. So yeah, Sui situation. This looks like shit. Yeah, okay. So this is pretty much the case of a majority of the chart that we've looked at through the stream. I believe you should start to notice some similarities. We have a confluence of daily downtrend plus daily 200 EMA. Once again, perfect bearish retest on Sunday. I fucking ate myself. If slash when it's reclaimed, you have a gap fill to play all the way up to daily 100 EMA as main target. But until then, you have to hope that the daily 300 EMA is defended alongside the wick printed yesterday. I would likely only be interested to short once again such retests or longer reclaim of it. So that's why I'm saying that this is probably 90% of the charts that we watched today, because all of them are kind of looking the same thing, right? But yeah, this would be my main point of view on Sui. Yeah. Don't think there is much more to discuss on Sui. But yeah, it got corrected quite nicely. Once again, perfect display of the system, by the way. Your long daily trends, retests, 2 fake outs. I want to see if H4 200 EMA was defended on this. So that was October 2024. 24. No, it was not. Okay. That would have probably fucked me if I was trading that. But yeah. Daily uptrend. Daily trend starts to crack. Come for the retest from below. Gap fill to 100 EMA. 100 EMA gets defended. Rejection once again. Gap fill to 200 EMA. Compression between the two. 200 EMA breaks. Fill the gap to 300 EMA. This is the 101 of my gap fill approach, basically. I'm trying to see if I can find the... I had a... okay. I'm looking for something. Give me a minute. Yeah, over here. In my educational section library in the Haven, by the way. All my educational content is organized in chapters. That's the case for every analyst. But in this one, I think it's in the compression region. Yeah. As you can see, strong trend, loss of the trend, trend lost, fill the gap to 100 EMA, bounce, compression, 100 EMA lost, fill the gap to 200 EMA. Perfect display of that. AVAX, okay. AVAX, and I'm done taking chart requests because I'm way too slow. I'm way too slow. I'm yapping way too much. It's interesting to see Bitcoin defending 86, 88 despite SPX hitting the bed. That gives me hope that if SPX stops bleeding, I can have the rest of my targets hit on this. But I feel like I'm already jinxing it. Okay, Adam. I think I covered it on Monday stream. It's the same idea as a grass. Yeah. Daily 100 EMA plus previous range low flips support while daily trend catches up. For now, it's still pretty far away, meaning that it's complicated for me to even position myself. But if this continues to get defended, the daily trend gets high enough, you can use daily trend as an invalidation. So that's my main point of view when it comes to ADA. And obviously, if it fails to flip this region support, I would expect some period of chop fest in this white box over here. Come on, Bitcoin. Give me my the rest of my targets, please. You would be very kind. Yeah, Ada, not much to discuss beside that daily trend that I would be willing to take. For example, I believe this lines up perfectly with a potential weekend trade. If by Friday this is consolidating in this region, I believe it's worth giving it a shot regarding news plus momentum, timing. I believe it's worth giving it a shot, but I would want to see the daily trend catch up a little bit more. Because basically, if I was to enter now and I wanted to base my invalidation off of the daily trends, it's way too far. The risk reward is just shit. If the daily trend catches up with price and I can use the daily trend as an invalidation, I can have it much, much tighter. So yeah, that was once again from Monday stream in the Haven. Not much to add, so I'm just gonna share this. Altcoin, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. A bit of a sad state for Altcoin. A bit of a sad state for Altcoin. The main focus I've had on Altcoin over the last few weeks was shorting H1 200 EMA retests every time it was tapped. It was basically pico top since 0.60 every time it got retested. But now short term, this is not looking like something I would be willing to trade. I'm not seeing any obvious setup short term, so I'm just gonna pass on Altcoin for now. Trying to see what I could highlight of interest for you guys, but not much. I think I would be interested in longing Altcoin if /when H1 100 MA flips, because the gaps are gigantic, so that makes them interesting to play for me. But that would basically mean that I would want to see this flat. This would probably be disrespected like this. Long here and aim for H4 200 MA retests. This is the kind of long I could be taking eventually on Altcoin, but for now I don't think I'm interested much. BTC pumping, not much, mate, not much. But as I said a couple of minutes ago, if SPX stops shitting the bed, I think this can give me the rest of my targets. But if that would require SPX to stop shitting the bed. ENA. I actually have a short on ENA that I'm likely going to take profits on. This is the short I took earlier today. I'm gonna pay myself on that. We tested the local lows. This is for those who were here at the beginning of the SUI discussion, I explained that I was very close to take the short on here earlier today. I ended up going for ENA. But yeah, I'm gonna pay myself. I'm gonna take some profits on that, at least half of it. Give me a second. Mostly because of Bitcoin relative strength and because it tapped retest of the local lows, and I believe I can tighten my invalidation above the H4 trend. Give me a minute. All right. Okay. Pierre, where do you trade on? I mostly trade on Binance, Kraken, Hyperliquid, and Woo. Depends where are my funds, depends what I want to trade, depends what liquidity. I mostly use Woo and Hype for perps because as a French lad, I got kicked out of Bybit and Binance. So this is where I had to park myself. Come on. We said it a few minutes ago. If SPX stops shitting the bed, we have a window for Bitcoin. Make me proud, please. That would be nice. That would be nice, as we discussed. This reaction right now makes this invalidation even better, in my opinion. Meaning that if this fails to give a proper impulse more than this, then I would be even more convinced in my invalidation if this was lost. Because the place I wanted to see flipped support and defended, must hold flip, so far is delivering a little bit of strength. Therefore, if lost, I won't blink twice and I will just exit the rest of the position. We'll see. We'll see how it ends. Any news, maybe? No. Okay. What do we have next? Okay, so Elena, I was discussing it. Sorry, I just passed on it. Not much to discuss. Not much to discuss on ENA. The main justification for shorting it earlier was relative weakness compared to the rest of the market, plus retest from below of what was a obvious support initially in confluence with H4 trend. That was a bit of an automatic short. So I don't have much to discuss on ENA. I believe it's okay. Perfect. I already basically covered. Where do you check the news, mates? Mostly Twitter. Mostly Twitter. I'm basically following Walter plus Unfold, DB News, and for Trump tweets, I'm using Trump repost account, which is it is a bot that basically reposts Trump post from the Truth Social Network or whatever it's called, Truth Social. It is slight. At least this weekend, it was 1 minute faster than our feed news on Twitter on the news of the crypto coins. It was 1 minute faster. Is it going to be always faster? I don't know, but that's what I use. Is your Twitter Pierre Crypto? It is, sir. It is. I am newer, starting with crypto creds essential courses, then gonna learn from you in the event. Seems like a good path. I believe it's a very good approach. I believe crypto creds educational content is absolute banger. I think it covers already a shitloads of things. I think that if you go through his content and his everything is shared, I believe everyone I know in CT at some point went through Cred content, at least to it never hurts. And I learned a lot from Cred and from his content and from his courses, even if we have different systems and different approach in the market. I believe it's a fantastic source of educational content, especially when you're starting to trade. And eventually, if you want to dig deeper, if you want to be surrounded by a community, if you want to have access to a bigger library of education, if you want if you dig my system or anyone else in the Haven, then it can be a good shot to give the Haven a shot. But short term, if you're starting, yeah, I believe that Creds educational content, Creds PDF are fantastic. Even the YouTube videos that he has made are very good, very, very good. So dig that first, and later, if you want to dig deeper, if you want to get more serious, if you want to have access to other things, maybe consider the Haven. Obviously, I believe it's a fantastic product, but I also think that you have some very nice free content that you can work with initially. I believe the Haven is a way to speed run learning process. simply by surrounded by other traders and being able to participate in stream, ask questions, integrate what you believe is good for you in your system, etc., etc. But if you have all the time in the world, create content is very, very good. Okay, so yeah, Elena, this is from my stream on Monday. Again, I cover a lot of chat requests during my streams in the Haven. Yeah, this is my main point of view. So we have the confluence of daily downtrend and this obvious local resistance. It's been the same resistance since early February. It's now in confluence with daily downtrend, meaning that if at some point we have enough strength for ENA to break through daily downtrend and break through this level, we have very good gap fills to chase. Daily 100 MA, daily 100 MA, daily 200 MA. This would be the kind of long that I would be willing to take. And obviously, the other side is losing what's been a support over the past couple of weeks. Ideally, again, it's the same thought process than what I shared for ADA, for SUI, for GRASS, where I explained that it is at a place where I could be bidding, but I would prefer to do so after some compression. To me, it's the same thing on ENA right now for the short side. I would be much more inclined to take this short if it consolidates a little bit more in the no trade zone. Because again, if I was to short this for more than the scalp that I have running, my invalidation would be right into the local range. I would not trust that invalidation much. But if it was to consolidate long enough for the daily downtrend to catch down with this level, I could use my invalidation on this short would be back inside the range and above daily downtrend. That would be two good enough arguments to not try to short it anymore. While if I was to take it here, I don't know where I would have an invalidation I can trust. So that's why I put it a little bit more on the right, and I would ideally want to see some compression like this, in which case I would be fine to take this short. Once again, this is I discussed that almost in every chart that we've watched, that ideally we would get some compression so that the daily trend catch down with price, and that would make better trades to chase for me because invalidations would be better and would be tighter. And this is once again the case on ENA. So I believe this is a good display of the ENA situation. I believe I should not say no trade zone because I am actively trading it, but I should say no swing zone. And yeah, some very sexy gap fills to chase to the upside with daily downtrend break, which would be the first time since $1. That would be a good enough trigger for me to give the longer shot. And if it fails, it fails. Fuck it. But if it plays out, you have fantastic gap fills to chase. And yeah, once again, another perfect example of daily trend, defended, starts to break, enough to decide to fuck off, flip resistance, gap fill to 100 MA, and then break down. Yeah, that's my main point of view for ENA. And we're gonna finish with Avalanche AVAX. Wow. What do you think about trading plus marketing sentiment, plus market sentiment as an indicator? For example, viewing the crypto marketing wave and seeing which company are going back into marketing spend as lagging indicator. It's an interesting question. I have never thought about it more than that. If I understand your question correctly, you're basically asking if I think that there could be something actionable based on how much crypto teams are willing to push marketing, and that you could interpret that as either a signal of despair or either a signal of reversal in the trends because they do marketing to reach more people. Honestly, I've never thought about it. I'm seeing it more as a sign of incoming death, meaning that if I'm seeing a chain or a project that's being heavily chilled, you can almost 100% know that it's because there is some funding behind and some call programs or whatever, which is perfectly fine. If it's If it's disclaimed and if it's agreements between team and people, it's perfectly fine. But for me, usually, if you start seeing that and it's not immediately followed by any kind of positive price action, this smells like shit for the project. Well, this is just what Michael said. I've been seeing AVAX spending like crazy on calls, events, conferences. Do you think they'll do well? With what I just said, I was very long on AVAX at the end of last cycle. For those who were following me in last cycle, my main thesis and my main exit of the cycle was riding Sol, AVAX, and Luna from 1 to 3 digits or 2 to 3 digits. And AVAX was the last one to hit 3 digits was Luna, December 2021, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I even think it was for Christmas. Was it before? Did I hallucinate? No. Okay, yeah. 3 digits for the first time for Christmas. And then, well, history was made. Jesus. What I'm trying to say here is that my main thesis back then for AVAX to pump was what I discussed earlier about the fact that each chain had its own ecosystem and that we were seeing activity on Phantom, AVAX, even on Harmony at the end, which was probably a very good top signal. And that there was a shot for that. But the truth is that in a world where ETH and Solana exists, what's the real bull case for AVAX? How does AVAX distance itself from either ETH or Solana or even BSC? Maybe it's just me that lacks knowledge and understanding on AVAX itself, but I'm just not seeing it. Does that mean I'm not interested to trade it? Absolutely not. I could trade whatever as long as it shows a trade I'm willing to trade. But yeah, so taking a look at AVAX, strong daily downtrend. It never got the opportunity to have any kind of new bull cycle. I mean, that's still a very decent $8 up to 60 region. That's still a very decent bear market low to bull market high move. But it's not solid. It's not, yeah. So trading wise, very classic. I believe you either continue to short daily downtrend continuation, either you wait for daily downtrend to break and you have the opportunity for a gap fill all the way up to 100 MA and 200 EMA. But a little bit like earlier when I said that if I was willing to short, I would probably be shorting something else than XRP. Well, I believe that if AVAX looks like this and looks good enough to bounce up to 35, unless it's driven by a specific catalyst, I believe that if I'm willing to take this long, I'm likely to be chasing a better long somewhere else on something that's probably more hyped and maybe newer. I don't know. But yeah, the main thing I'm seeing on AVAX short term is that if I'm willing to trade AVAX, that would only be on a retest and or reclaim of the 23.5 up to 35.6 region. That would probably be the only place. I'm gonna type it down. Only place I'd be interested to trade AVAX. Yeah. When bear market, always a bear market somewhere. Always bear markets, especially tonight. It's Champions League night. AVAX Foundation recently pumped Ket to 350 million, Wink to 115 million, Blub to 80 million. Seems like they are doing what they can to increase volume, but it does not feel very organic. Yeah, honestly, I'm happy not being in the position where I'm the one that's supposed to bring activity on the chain right now, because that must be a tough job to have. How do you feel with longing multiple coins at the same time, meaning your risk increase significantly? To me, there are only very short period of times where that's supposed to happen. The same time I believe that windows where the market is extremely friendly are very small and represent a small portion of the time you're gonna spend on the market. Personally, if I'm long more than 5 coins at the time, it likely means that we are in raging daily uptrends or raging daily downtrends. But again, as the mid-curve trader representative, I'm not a big fan of having too many coins running at the same time, too many trades running at the same time, mostly because when I do, it's not even just about risk, it's also about execution. And I know that I might disperse myself too much. So I don't feel particularly bad or good about it. I don't care much. If the conditions are friendly enough and forgiving enough, I think it's perfectly fine. But I would say though that I'm more of a concentrated bet kind of guy. I would rather go big size on the trade than small size on 15. But again, it's also because, as I said, I'm a very momentum trend follower kind of trader, meaning that most often than not, I'm focused on what's trending, and as soon as the trend breaks, I just sell everything and move on to something else. So it makes more sense for me to try having more concentrated bets more than being dispersed. I would assume the more you're trying to play levels and expect things to retrace, buy bottoms, whatever you want to call it, the more you have chances to be dispersed, and eventually you concentrate it to what's moved or not. If you're more trending in a when over where approach like me, I believe that's the opposite. You start with concentrated bet, and eventually, if this disperse into the rest of the market, you can disperse yourself. I don't know if it's clear, but it is in my mind. DeFi is going to pump. Do you think it would be wise to do beta plays instead of the alpha? No. No. Always focus on the alpha. Most often than not, again, obviously there's going to be rules or exceptions where the beta plays just as well as the alpha. But most often than not, sticking to the alpha has rewarded me more than it cost me. And I learned that lesson the hard way back in the days with the uni sushi trade. I missed the initial sushi move. I think it was first semester of 2020, or was it 2021? I think it was first semester of 2021. Okay, second semester, first semester of 2021. When sushi started to do that, and now with Insight, it was probably just SBF. I was, because I missed the first move all the way up until January or February, I think I only caught the end of the move. I was stuck into longing uni, which did great, don't get me wrong. It pumped immensely also. It did like a times, I don't know how much, and it was freely airdropped. So that was nice. But that was not sushi nice. Sushi did, in the same time, sushi did like 0.5 up to 25. So most often than not, I've been rewarded sticking to the alphas rather than playing the betas. But again, there's probably plenty of examples of the opposite. I'm just giving my own experience. All right, lads, if I don't have any new questions, I'm gonna be sharing all these chat requests in the Telegram section as usual. That way you can have access to all the chat requests that we covered today. Ah, fuck. I'm not on Discord. I need to remove those things. Next public stream, maybe in 2 weeks, depending on market conditions. Otherwise, next month. But I would like to do it to do another one this month. Maybe end of March or in 2-3 weeks. I will let you guys update it. Small Haven chill, obviously. I have to. This is my job. Yeah, if you enjoy the stream, this is an example of what I do 2 times per week in the Haven. In addition to other things, other content. So if that's something that can interest you, if you feel like you could have a few things to learn from that and from other analysts, don't hesitate to, check on my Twitter page. You have a link in my bio. If you want to check, if you want to have only access to the educational content, we have also that now, where you can see each analyst's library of content that was made ever since we built the Haven. There is a shitload to go through. Video content, all of that. From Loma, Krillin, me, CBS, UB, Main. If that's something that can interest you, don't hesitate to check. And it's at a discounted price. You can also find the link in my channels. If you have any questions regarding that, don't hesitate to ask neither. And thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the chat request, for the questions. Was a good second public stream. Maybe for next one, I will be joined by someone, maybe Krillin, maybe someone else from the Haven, or maybe someone just from City. I don't know yet. If I had to give one conclusion regarding Bitcoin, I think today's price action so far has showed it well. 86, 88K is probably the region you want to focus on going into the rest of the day. As long as it's defended, I think it has a shot to give us a retest of H4 100 EMA and H4 200 EMA, which is right now in the 891 up to 93K region. Personally, this is where I have the rest of my targets short term. And as long as it's defended, the 86, 88, I believe we could have a case of longer chop fest in the 86 up to 93K region, a little bit like we got in February. So yeah, short term, this is your focus. Again, you can also find these charts in Discord. They are shared also if you want to check them, daily and H4. And pray for me that I have the rest of my targets filled through the day. And if you have any questions following the stream, you can try to tag me on Twitter. Don't send me a DM. It's unlikely that I'm gonna check, because Twitter DMs are absolutely hell. But if you have any questions following the stream, you can ask below the post that I'm gonna make in a minute to say thank you for everyone. And see you guys on the next stream. See you guys in the Haven for those who want to join, and see you guys on Telegram again if you want. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.